Hello. So in a reading I did a little while back, I got something about a storm, and it just kind of happened with the northeast coast of the United States, where the storm, what I view as like an appetizer, almost like a test run of what I believe is to come. So what I'm going to do here is show you the news clips and then show you the clips for my reading. But first, I just wanted to let you know my, updated prediction on this. I do feel as though this was a test run because I talk about the moisture being in the air and apparently an entire summer's worth of rain dropped in New York in a matter of hours. So I do feel as though this was the test run to see if the water that they are trying to keep in the air has stayed in the air and can produce mass quantities, which now they know that it has in multiple areas of the United States at the same time. So essentially my updated prediction, and you'll see kind of how I got to this based off of the clips that you're about to see. But my updated prediction here is, again, allegedly my opinion, no facts, but my updated opinion here is that what is going to happen in the time frame that I gave in the upcoming clips is essentially what just happened in the Northeast with this storm, but during hurricane season, so that it's essentially what happened plus winds, plus tornadoes, plus what can turn into cyclones and what have you, being that there is a high amount of water being stored in the air, water particles. And this was kind of the evaluation, the proof, the test run of that. So in the clips, what I was getting kind of off track about was I was looking up tornado season dates, but I was looking at hurricanes. So I'm realizing now that what Spirit was trying to lead me to was it's going to be essentially what happens now, but add it to that during hurricane season with the winds, with the spreading of the air, with the spreading of the water and the flooding, if you add in a hurricane to the type of flooding that just occurred in the Northeast. So that is what I believe is getting set up for in the time frame that I believe it's the end of July to the end of September, is what I said in the upcoming clips. So essentially during that time frame, allegedly my opinion, I do believe that we are going to experience what we just experienced in the Northeast, plus probably an outbreak of those type of tornadoes that we talked about in the upcoming clips, where it's a wide tornado at the bottom, just as wide as it is up top, because then it could really shuffle around the air and the water more efficiently throughout a greater piece of the country, or multiple countries, because this is happening in other countries right now as well with the extreme weather. So I'm going to insert the clips and show you how I came up with what I just said. Again, please remember, everything is alleged, my opinion, not facts. And I will talk to you soon.
Catastrophic flooding has caused a state of emergency in parts of the Northeast. Meanwhile, the Southwest gearing up for a second week of 110+ degree temperatures. Phoenix expected to see highs of 115.
I think other parts of the country are spending the day cleaning up, while the South and West dealing with another big issue, extreme heat.
Storm system has just wreaked havoc across this entire area. And as we just heard Ginger say, this is a 1 in 1,000 year flood event down to Pennsylvania. And now parts of Vermont also under flash flood emergencies. People there bracing for the worst of it.
It was extremely scary. I have never seen anything like this before. To just watch all of the water come running through my property, taking everything with it, and there was nothing that we could do.
At the U.S. Military Academy West Point in parts of eastern Pennsylvania, they suffered once in a 1,000-year flooding. More than 8 inches of rain, most of it in about 6 hours. Cars, roads, and homes swallowed. In Vermont, rushing rivers. In Pennsylvania,
oh my gosh, look at this vehicle.
Cars trying to navigate flooded streets. This van had to be rescued.
Meanwhile, more than 35 million Americans are also on alert for dangerous heat. In Southern California and parts of Arizona, temperatures could reach almost 120 degrees over the next week.
So this is meant to be a distraction. The next card is collapse. That's going to be over top of the next card. So I would like this card to be, what are they distracting us from? Kind of nervous because the other things kind of just happened. Maybe it'll be something good, right? That's not good. Man-made disaster in reverse is a natural disaster. Oh no. Can't control when a natural disaster happens unless it is under your control. I feel like I'm gonna cry, but it's not like me. Like there's something coming. Devastating. This isn't to scare anyone, I'm just telling you what I'm getting. It's some kind of storm. It's like, then the last card will be next to man-made disaster and underneath of mail, which the mail card is, it's time. It's time to do this. I'm gonna take a picture of the cards so that you can see them. I interestingly made a post the other day. It's interesting because now it's interesting, about Ryan Seacrest and how he used to be on American Idol as the host, and now it just was announced he's on Wheel of Fortune as the host. And I made a joke that anytime there's a tarot card in the news I pay attention, but it wasn't all the way a joke because I did say in that post that it felt like that was symbolic of like the beginning of the Hunger Games. And I hope you can hear that. And I said that I felt like something was about to start. Everything is about to start, and the kickoff event is something weather related, because then you can't blame anybody because they don't control the weather, and it's all to distract. That's how they are distracting. 3 cards. Government in reverse. Okay, 3 cards to clarify. Government in reverse. What are they distracting us from? The rollout of the new money per Fed one, Fed something, Fed something. That's this. They're distracting us from that. If there's a giant storm and it messes everything up, that's a good way to push out the rest of cash and just bring in. And you're too distracted by all the other stuff to really know what's going on. And then there's chaos with a natural disaster. And you're more prone to agree to that being the form of payment if you need it in order to get supplies to survive. One of my readings, I said it was like a bunch of stuff was going to happen all at once. I think this reading's showing us what that means. And it feels really heavy. Like I feel like I'm about to cry, but it's like not even me. Like I personally don't feel like I'm gonna cry. The energy that I'm in feels like it's making me about to cry. And also like, I can't catch my breath. I believe in the next 3 months there's going to be a storm like we have not seen in a really long time. It likely has something to do with collapse over top of man-made disaster in reverse. Gives me the image of like a tsunami or like a, I don't know if I'm making this up in my head or if it's a thing, like a super tornado. What's a cyclone? A cyclone is like a tornado mixed with a tsunami. It almost feels like there's two weather phenomena that happen simultaneously and impact each other, and the result of that is hence devastating.
An astonishing milestone this week. Monday and Tuesday, the hottest days ever recorded on Earth. Here in the U.S., Americans feeling the brutal summer heat firsthand. Over 20 million under heat alerts today.
I feel like this is USA. At the same time, they push everyone switching over to cashless because of the disaster and because of everything else that's going on that's chaotic. Other countries are going to start to turn on us and not be shy about it. And all of it is a distraction because there's big changes coming. I feel like I'm in a panic attack. And again, not me, like the energy that I'm in, I feel like it's expressing itself by I need to like get up and pace the room. Pace the room, circles. It almost feels like if a tornado was happening simultaneously at the same time as like a tsunami or something, like, but I don't know if those things normally happen together. This is like something happens that doesn't normally happen with something else, but it happens with something else, and it makes both things like 3 times worse than they typically would have been. Due to the atmospheric conditions during that time of year, including an abundance of moisture in the air. Like if you have so many different places spraying moisture into the air from above, from helicopters trying to put out fires, they're putting moisture in the air. Tornadoes are often formed by supercell storms, the most violent type of thunderstorm. Commercial break. Totally unrelated subject. We're going to talk about a fantasy novel that I read one time. Okay? One time I read in a fantasy novel that there was this government with a bad plan, and they spent a lot of time getting the conditions right to enact this big plan, and they had to find a way to get a lot of moisture into the air without people questioning why they're doing that. So they put stuff in the air that would keep the moisture in the air, kind of making the weather feel a little weird, so let's blame that on global warming. So once all the moisture is in this air, and we spend the last couple weeks really packing in the moisture. So what we have now is certain areas of the country and surrounding countries that are releasing toxic gases and stuff into the air. The people in charge in this fantasy novel, they say, wouldn't it be great if we could take this toxic air and spread it out all over the country so that people had to stay in their houses and kind of need us again?
We're about to experience one of the most unusual hurricane seasons ever. This is due to the fact that not only is El Nino ramping up in the Pacific, but the waters in the Atlantic Ocean are getting much hotter than what they should be. These are both highly impactful yet conflicting signals for hurricane activity that will make forecasting a nightmare for meteorologists.
With 18 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes of Category 3 or higher, the odds of a major hurricane making landfall in the U.S. are 50%. What's so unusual is that this is an El Nino year, when weather patterns should make it harder for hurricanes to form.
They think that the sea surface temperature thing may kind of overwhelm it because we're at record levels.
The highest ocean temperatures ever recorded have created plenty of fuel for hurricanes. And just like when Fiona slammed into Atlantic Canada last year as the most destructive post-tropical system on record, Conditions are ripe for storms to stay stronger farther north.
Which makes places, like the Mid-Atlantic and New England and even the Maritimes of Canada more vulnerable.
With 3 named storms already on the books and hurricane season just beginning, people up and down the vulnerable coasts are being told to prepare for what our warming planet may deliver in the coming months.
Supercell storms. Supercell. Large, severe storm occurring in a significant vertically sheared environment. Contains quasi-steady, strongly rotating cyclone updraft. I was saying cyclone and I was confirming what I was about to say without realizing it, because I'm saying moisture in the air plus tornado, that's a cyclone. Water and tornado is cyclone. Water in the air and tornado. Strongly rotating updraft, which is called a mesocyclone, can evolve from a non-supercell storm, moderate to strong vertical speed and directional wind. A mesocyclone is a vortex of air approximately 2 to 10 miles in diameter within a convective storm. In a mesocyclone, air rises and rotates around a vertical axis, usually in the same direction as low-pressure systems. They are most often associated with a localized low-pressure region with a severe thunderstorm. What is the difference between a mesocyclone and a tornado? When the Doppler radar detects a large rotating updraft that occurs inside a supercell, it is called a mesocyclone. It is usually 2 to 6 miles in diameter and is much larger than the tornado that may develop within it. What is the rarest type of tornado? A true wedge tornado with a funnel at least as wide at the ground as it is tall. So instead of this, it's this. Allegedly, my opinion, I think that they're setting up to have the toxic air spun and distributed around a wider area by using a conveniently timed outbreak of probably a true wedge tornado, which is this instead of this. And they're gonna say it's global warming, but it's actually from the moisture that they purposely put in the air, allegedly, my opinion. Hurricane Katrina was in August. That's after season 2. Costliest hurricane to ever hit the US. Caused damage estimated between $97.4 billion to $145.5 billion in late August 2005. Tropical cyclone. 12th tropical cyclone, 5th hurricane, and 3rd major hurricane of the 2005 Atlantic hurricane season.
With 18 named storms, 9 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes of Category 3 or higher, the odds of a major hurricane making landfall in the U.S. are 50%.
It was the most intense Atlantic hurricane to make landfall in the U.S. How do they get that money back that we need? What's a really good way besides war? Please remember, all of this is alleged, my opinion. The majority of the lives lost in Hurricane Katrina were due to flooding caused by fatal engineering flaws in the flood protection system, specifically the levee around New Orleans, as well as large areas in neighboring parishes were flooded for weeks. The flooding also destroyed most transportation and communication facilities. The response from federal, state, and local governments was widely criticized. And the cost on the side that's listed officially under overall effects, damage $125 billion. So Katrina surpassed Andrew. Before Katrina, Andrew held the record in 92. Katrina means pure and implies a gentle yet assertive demeanor that cannot be intimidated. Andrew means strong or manly. Pure for Katrina, strong and manly for Andrew. Female and male counterparts. I can't tell if it's something similar to Katrina plus Andrew, but more focused on moving the air around and circulating the bad air. So plus in the same spot, or if it's kind of both of them combined, but in different areas, like it would happen here and here at the same time. Sum it up. My prediction is that the U.S. is going to get hit with 2 superstorms almost simultaneously at different areas of the country. There's not going to be a great response from the government. I see this happening by August 31st. Likely sometime in August, but it feels like early August. It may be a little later than that. I'm going to clip that part back and we'll do a full reading about it so we can, I don't know. If Spirit could tell anyone watching a good way to prepare for what I said, what would the 2 cards be? Not to wait for it to come. Not to wait till it begins. And that was the card behind it. Let's say you're going on a secret trip. You would kind of just prepare and not make a big stink about it and just kind of get your stuff and put them in the bag and just kind of, you know, do it kind of nonchalantly and not make a big stink or not really advertise that that's what you're doing, but just kind of do it and not wait to see it to be ready for it. I'll say this. It feels like those who had more control when there was a pandemic need people to need them again like they did then, and that need is growing increasingly more prevalent and rushed as other things unfold. So something is going to soon, I would say within the next, keeping 3, I don't know if it's 3 weeks or 3 months, so that would be the end of July or June, July, August, September. Either by the end of July or the end of September. I feel like it's in between that. In between the end of July, so what's today, the 20th? In between July 20th and September 20th, about, something is gonna happen that's like, you needed us during the pandemic, you need us again. But it's not another pandemic. I don't know what it is, but love in reverse. Frozen in reverse. Oh, extreme weather. Oh, that would fit. Not healthcare, disaster relief care. A new home, it was in reverse. Fire, spring, the nervous system. Plan change. Revenge in reverse. It's not something that we did. It's not us. There's gonna be some, it feels like a new weather phenomena that's like, what the heck just happened? But it would have to be multiple places at once, like.
Again tonight with that historic flash flooding and an ongoing threat of heavy rain. An entire summer's worth of rain fell in a matter of a few hours in New York on Sunday, and now that same system is moving over New England. Torrential downpours are now pounding Vermont, where Governor Phil Scott called for an all-hands-on-deck approach to the storms. The National Weather Service has issued its first high-risk warning for the state since 2011. In New York's Hudson Valley, floodwaters caused at least one death, washed away roads, and forced the evacuation of homes and businesses. 12 million residents across New England are under flash flood alerts tonight, with heavy rains expected through tomorrow morning.
New York's governor also said that the historic flooding seen in this part of the Hudson Valley is now part of life for people in this part of the country, and so they need to remain vigilant, especially considering that it's turned deadly after one woman passed away trying to save her dog. Tonight, a state of emergency in Vermont with life-threatening flooding. Up to 8 inches of rain fell today, turning scenic landscapes into deadly rivers of mud. Now dozens of roads are crumbled and impassable. The deluge reminding some of Tropical Storm Irene, when 8 inches of rain fell in less than a day.
We have not seen rain fall like this since Irene, and in some places it will surpass even that.
New York's Hudson Valley was slammed. Within just a matter of hours Sunday, the torrential downpour completely destroyed this segment of Route 218 just north of West Point. The damage is so extensive it may be months before this can be repaired.
It almost feels like it's because the energy grid is being updated. Like it has something to do with it. I don't know what, but it does. Because it's either that this is like a hot, like, because this could also overwhelm hospitals. It's outside in reverse. Can't go outside. It has to be something weather related. I'm wondering almost if it's like all of a sudden they think mosquitoes or something are carrying COVID and like you can't go outside. Or maybe not COVID per se. Maybe I shouldn't even be saying that word. Maybe not that per se, but like, I don't know, something that mixes weather, hospital, not being able to go outside. Oh, joy, weird science, and justice in reverse. Something we don't deserve, but we have to deal with anyway, and weird science. Overwhelm. Tsunami all at once. Hospital, can't go out. Oh my, a leak of some kind. Like in the air, something in the air. Something you can get sick from. 6 of Pentacles. That gives me the image of like literally breathing, like, because it's like in and out, give and receive. It also is like, you need us. You need our help. You need us to tell you what to do again, like we did back then, but this time it's not our fault. It would have to be like this country attacks this country and it makes the air bad. So it's not our fault, but we have to tell you what to do. Again, for a time frame, I'm saying most likely between the end of July and the end of September for this. One card for, is this going to be as big of a deal as I feel like it's going to be? 7 of Pentacles reverse. It's almost like the same image of like a tsunami. Like it's a big deal when it happens and then it's quiet. We don't talk about it anymore. Kind of like the pandemic.